Hi, this is Bob Sorrentino from Italian Roots and Genealogy with Lesson 2, Should You Do a DNA Test? Many people are confused about DNA and do not understand their results when they receive it. First, we have to know that just because your recent ancestors come from a certain country, it does not mean that your DNA will match that country 100% or even 50% or less. Second, there are 3 types of DNA typically used by genealogists to help people understand their roots. Third, I like to tell people that while your heritage or culture may be one thing, your DNA may point in a completely different direction. My hope in this lesson is to explain the differences simply and that you will have a better idea of what company to choose and what to expect from their report. The easiest way to visualize this is the jelly bean test. Imagine 2 large jugs of jelly beans. One would be Mom's and one would be Dad's. Now take half from each and pour into another jug. That would be you. Now let's say Mom's parents are from 4 different countries and Dad's parents are from 2 different countries. Assuming you're using 6 different colors, you can see how the mix will change every time you repeat the experiment. This will show you how your own DNA may be different than you think, but the same is true for your siblings. Now it gets a little bit more complicated as 22 of the 23 chromosomes are made up of segments. Let's go back to the jelly beans. One of your chromosomes might be made up of 4 jelly beans linked red, blue, green, and yellow. That determines eye color, and your sister's chromosomes may be black, green, blue, and purple. I think you get the picture. This is an oversimplification, of course, but you can see how your nationality and DNA may differ than what you think, and even between siblings who may have 34 to 50% in common. The 3 types of DNA that you will get back, depending on the company that you choose to test with, are autosomal, mitochondrial, and Y-DNA. Autosomal DNA is the DNA that you inherit from both parents and is the DNA most typically reported by testing companies to match your relatives. Each autosome goes through a genetic process that randomly pairs up the autosomes from each parent called recombination, after which the newly paired autosomes are passed down to the children. Y-DNA is considered the sex chromosome and only appears in males. That is because the 23 chromosomes inherits either an X or a Y from your father and only an X from your mother. Males can trace their Y-DNA back tens of thousands of years through Y-DNA tests, but only through their male ancestors. So, for example, I mentioned living DNA and my true ancestry. If you send your DNA sample to them, you will be able to find out where your father's family migrated from. Mitochondrial DNA, on the other hand, gives you the same result from your mother's line. So simply put, males can trace their mother and father line, and females can only trace their mother lines. All of this is determined by haplogroups. A haplogroup is like a club determined by your direct line of inheritance. This association helps determine where in the world your direct line may have originated from. There are also subgroupings that can even be more precise. Haplogroups are designed by a letter followed by a number or another small case letter. The first letter is the group. All the following information denotes where the club is located. A very simple group may be capital H, 2, small case a, 3, small case b. My true ancestry, who I will talk about in a later lesson, will give you more haplogroup information. This is only a very simple and brief explanation of DNA and haplogroups. It is a very complex subject, and while important to understand the basics, it is not necessary to have a deep understanding to start your family research. If you do a DNA test where the company breaks down your haplogroup, they will give you a detailed report on your mother or father lines. I myself found it interesting as my results were very different than I would have expected. My mother and father lines came from regions that I never would have expected. In Lesson 3, we will cover should you do a DNA test.